The gifts of miracles and healings is resident in the evangelistic office. If you ever know any real evangelists, they will be heavy in the gifts of miracles and healings, because God will confirm His word by signs and wonders. Okay, now let me say this. Not everybody that travels around the country that calls themselves an evangelist is evangelist. A true evangelist is a person that preaches the gospel and wins souls. And here's the thing you need to understand about an evangelist. I don't need an evangelist in this church, because everybody in this church is saved. They need to be going outside. But today, and the Lord spoke to me not long ago and told me, He said, none of the evangelists in the United States are preaching to the lost. They're all trying to preach to the church. Why? Because that's where the money and the glory is at. And I'm not talking about the glory of Jesus, okay? A true evangelist would be Marie. And they're finishing up in Poland, and they have had great success in Poland, which is a big deal, guys, because of the demonic presence in Poland. And I think they're getting ready to head towards the Philippines. So keep them in prayer, but she would be an evangelist. The next one is helps governments in diversities of tongues. That would be a pastor. Okay, those gifts, and you notice that they're not helps governments is not listed in these 9 gifts. Okay, they come from these other gifts that I was talking about, but they're resident in a pastor. You got to be a true pastor. You got to know how to operate in the helps ministries, because that's what all of y'all, the main job of the flock is to operate in the helps ministries. I will tell you this: you'll never find the office of intercessory. There is no such thing as an office of intercessory in the Bible. Okay, there is a ministry called intercession, and it falls under the ministry of helps. Okay, that office helps the pastor, and I've got several great intercessors here, and they're coming in and telling me things, and we're seeing God move. And I've talked about 89, how they operated there, but that is a gift that's not in the 9 gifts, but it's listed here because it's in the pastoral office. Okay, government's the same way. Okay, but then diversity of tongues. Okay, every pastor should operate in diversity of tongues, and I'm going to explain that more later on. But I don't operate in those 2 gifts. That's the only 2 gifts I don't operate of the 9 gifts. And I can explain it why, and maybe I'll do it later on, but most pastors should be operating in tongues and interpretation of tongues, okay? Okay.